You begin with what seems most obvious, the word I. It appears before thought finishes forming. I am here, I am aware, I am present. Yet you never observe the birth of this I. It arrives already assumed. Ibn Arabi enters the inquiry at this exact point, not as a mystic describing experiences, but as a metaphysician asking what this assumed center actually is. He asks you to notice something precise. Awareness is already present before you claim ownership of it. The Quran provides a grounding statement, not as poetry, but as reasoning. I breathed into him of my spirit. If awareness is breathed rather than manufactured, then individuality cannot be its source. The question becomes unavoidable. If consciousness is given, what exactly is the I that claims it? Ibn Arabi lived in Andalusia at a time when certainty was pursued through accumulation. Jurists refined law, philosophers refined logic, mystics refined practice. Knowledge expanded rapidly, yet disagreement deepened. Each school assumed time as a given, progressing thought by thought, generation by generation. Ibn Arabi observed something subtle. Knowledge increased, but the knower remained unquestioned. Systems evolved, but the ground of awareness did not. He began asking whether the deepest confusion was not about conclusions, but about the frame within which all conclusions appeared. The Quran quietly confirms this hierarchy. Above every possessor of knowledge is one more knowing. If knowing itself has levels, then time-bound understanding may not be final. You say my thought, my memory, my life. The language feels natural, almost unavoidable. Yet when you pause, ownership is never directly observed. A thought appears, a sensation arises, a memory surfaces, but the owner is only inferred. Ibn Arabi asks whether possession is real or whether it is simply assumed after appearance. If awareness did not originate from you, then control cannot be fundamental to it. What you call mine may be only what passes through. The Quran frames this with precise logic. Everything is perishing except his face. If all forms perish, ownership cannot belong to form. The claim of mine dissolves when permanence is questioned. What remains is not possession, but presence. Before thought names now, awareness is already here, not approaching, not arriving, already present. Ibn Arabi does not point to an altered state, but to an unnoticed fact. Nearness, in his understanding, is not spatial. It is not measured by distance or time. The Quran states this nearness without symbolism. We are nearer to him than his jugular vein. This is not a statement about location. It is a statement about dependency. Awareness does not move toward reality. It exists because reality is already present as it. If awareness precedes every concept of time, then time cannot define it. The question shifts. What you call now may be a label placed on something that has never been absent. Ibn Arabi describes consciousness as reality knowing itself, not as a human faculty reaching outward. Knowing is not an action added to being. It is an aspect of being itself. You do not first exist and then become aware. Existence and awareness appear together. The Quran frames recognition as inward and outward simultaneously. We will show them our signs on the horizons and within themselves, until it becomes clear to them that it is the truth. Knowing is not achieved by accumulation, but by clarification. The signs are not events added in time. They are already present, waiting to be recognized. Consciousness, in this view, is not personal ownership. It is the mirror through which reality appears to itself without division. Seeking assumes distance. It assumes that what is essential lies ahead in time. Ibn Arabi questions this assumption directly. If awareness is already present, then who is seeking and what is being sought? The sense of a seeker depends on a story told across time. Who you were, who you are becoming, what you hope to reach. When this narrative is examined, it loses solidity. Awareness remains, but the one who claims to move toward truth becomes difficult to locate. The Quran states the return without implying travel. Indeed, we belong to God, and to Him we return. Return here is not movement. It is recognition. What disappears is not awareness, but the idea that awareness was ever separate from its source. You speak of the present moment as if it passes. You say it comes and goes, replaced by another, yet you never experience the disappearance of the moment itself. What ends is a thought about it. What changes is a sensation within it. Ibn Arabi asks whether the moment ever moves, or whether movement belongs only to perception. If awareness is constant, then the present may not be a slice of time, but the condition in which time appears. Again, the Quran anchors the inquiry. I breathed into him of my spirit. If presence is breathed into being, then it cannot be entered or exited. The unresolved question remains. If the present never departs, what exactly is time moving through? In Ibn Arabi's world, time was treated as sequence. Before and after, cause and effect, progress and decline. He did not deny sequence and experience, but he questioned its ultimate status. Is time a property of reality or a structure of perception? Knowledge unfolds in time. Awareness does not. Ibn Arabi observed that confusion arises when these are treated as identical. Thought progresses. Being does not. The Quran reminds you of this asymmetry. Above every possessor of knowledge is one more knowing. If knowing itself is layered, then time-bound understanding may not describe what is most real. You must ask which level you are living from. You say a moment ends, yet no moment is witnessed dying. What ends is memory. What begins is anticipation. Ibn Arabi distinguishes between form and reality. Forms arise and vanish. Reality does not. The Quran states this without ambiguity. Everything is perishing except his face. If forms alone perish, then time belongs to form. The moment itself may not pass. It may simply be misidentified as a form among forms. When the label moment dissolves, what remains is presence without duration. The question sharpens. If only appearances change, what exactly is the moment you believe disappears? Before a thought says, now, awareness is already here. Thought does not create presence. It comments on it. Ibn Arabi directs attention to this priority, not as a practice, but as an observation. The Quran frames this nearness as fact, not metaphor. We are nearer to him than his jugular vein. Nearness here means inseparability. Awareness does not wait for time to reach it. Time appears within awareness. If this is seen clearly, then presence cannot be something you enter. It is what you never leave. The unresolved question becomes unavoidable. If awareness precedes time, can it itself be temporal? Ibn Arabi describes reality as continuously disclosed, not repeated, not extended, but revealed anew without interruption. This does not mean events repeat. It means existence itself is never static. The Quran states this with precision. Every day he is upon a matter. This is not about days in a calendar. It is about ongoing manifestation. If disclosure is continuous, then the moment cannot conclude without existence concluding with it. The moment is not a container for events. It is the condition by which anything appears at all. The question deepens. If creation is ever renewed, what could it mean for a moment to end? Past appears through memory, future through anticipation. Neither exists outside thought. Ibn Arabi does not deny sequence and experience, but he denies its independence. Time is assembled by mental reference, not discovered as a thing. The Quran points to recognition rather than construction. We will show them our signs on the horizons and within themselves. Recognition occurs now, not later. If past and future exist only as thoughts, then the present is not a third category among them. It is what remains when thought is not projecting. The unresolved question remains, if past and future are mental, where does that leave what you call now? The self narrates itself across time. I was, I am, I will be. Ibn Arabi asks whether this narrative is identity or description. When time is removed, the story collapses. What remains is awareness without biography. The Quran states the impermanence clearly. Everything is perishing except his face. If identity depends on duration, then it belongs to what perishes. Awareness, however, does not age. It does not accumulate years. It does not move from one state to another. The question becomes direct. If identity requires time, what are you without it? Eternity is often imagined as endless time. Ibn Arabi rejects this. Eternity is not extension. It is absence of time's rule. It is presence without sequence. The Quran frames return without motion. Indeed, we belong to God, and to Him we return. Return here is not future-oriented. It is immediate recognition. Eternity is not entered after life. It is what life appears within. When duration dissolves, nothing is lost. Only the assumption of movement ends. The unresolved question remains. If eternity is not time, how could it ever be entered or exited? Thought moves, sensations change, moments appear to shift, yet something observes without motion. Ibn Arabi identifies this not as personal consciousness, but as reality knowing itself. The Quran unifies this observation. He is the first and the last. The observer does not travel through moments. Moments appear within observation. Aging belongs to form. Awareness does not age. It does not progress. It does not decline. The question becomes unavoidable. If the observer never moves, what exactly is growing older? What you seek to hold has never ended because it never began. The moment is not achieved through attention. It is what attention already presupposes. Ibn Arabi's insight is not about maintaining presence, but about recognizing its inevitability. The Quran completes the frame. He is the manifest and the hidden. Presence is manifest as experience and hidden as its source. When this is understood, waiting dissolves, seeking loses direction, nothing new is added, nothing is removed. The unresolved question remains, now quiet. If the moment is eternal, what have you been waiting for? Nothing concludes, nothing resolves. The inquiry falls silent because it no longer stands outside what it examines. Time no longer appears as a problem to solve. The self no longer stands as a center to defend. The Quran states the unity without remainder. He is the first and the last, the manifest and the hidden. This is not an answer added to thought. It is the end of unnecessary questioning. The moment does not continue. It simply is. And in this recognition, nothing changes, except the assumption that something needed to.